We just saw The Killing of a Sacred Deer, directed by
Yorgos something.
The guy that directed The Lobster.
Yeah.
Crazy movie. It's what I expected after seeing The Lobster from this director. I don't really know what to say about it, honestly. It was something else.
Okay, so I'll say something about it. It was bizarre. It was a bizarre movie. I didn't know what was going on. It takes a while before you can get to understand what's going on. You're sitting in the theater like, are they going to tell me what's happening? You're waiting and waiting, and it sort of reveals itself over time, which I like.
Yeah.
It's different, not knowing what's happening. It sort of reminded me of Mother a little bit, because I didn't know what was happening in Mother either. But in this, I'm sitting in there, and I'm just like, okay, please tell me what's happening. And I'm like making up stories in my head about different things. I sort of guessed after a while, after they gave us a couple hints, I sort of figured it out.
Yeah.
Before they were super explicit about it all. A lot of weird stuff was going on, though.
A lot of weird stuff.
Sort of, the acting, I think, was spectacular.
Yeah. The acting and the writing was spectacular. Cinematography was spectacular. It's just the story was just weird. It was out there. It wasn't hard to follow. You just wanted them to tell you what was going on, because it was hard to figure out yourself, which isn't the worst thing.
Right. It was very isolating too. The movie was completely isolating. You're in a hospital, yet there's no one there except for our characters. Very similar camera moves throughout. Just a bunch of different things. A lot of very wide shots where you can hear crystal clear what's happening, but you're getting like a perspective from a wide. Different camera angles coming from the top, coming from low. The camera was always moving. Yeah, so I think that's a credit to the writing, because you sort of understand who these characters are through their actions. There's not a lot of like explanation of who this person is, and you sort of get a very sort of full look at who these people are. You understand these characters without having them to be explained.
Yeah, they seem like not rounded out characters by the end of the movie, but you really know who they are, sort of. Or you think you know who they are.
Yeah, and there's a lot of layered symbolism. For instance, throughout the movie there were paintings on the walls, and I didn't recognize the paintings. And I'd be willing to guess that they had something to do with the characters and with the scenes and what was to come.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of interesting sort of sets. It takes place mostly in one house or in a hospital. But the sets were interesting. They showed, this isn't a spoil, but they show a heart surgery, and it was an actual heart surgery.
It was an actual heart surgery.
And it was definitely off-putting. I was like eating my popcorn looking at heart surgery, and it was like, maybe I should feel a little bit worse about eating my popcorn, but I'm just going to eat my popcorn. I see a heart. I don't care. I see blood and fat and goo. I'm going to eat up. Get some, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My ghee butter popcorn. Anyway. All right, so story. What do you think of the story?
The story was good. It was different than things I've been seeing recently. Took me by surprise.
All right. And then let's see, what else? What's something you liked about it? Something you hated about it?
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this movie. Coming out of it, I'm like, I don't know. It was just weird, and I wasn't ready for it, I feel like.
For me, it's one of those movies where I need to see like a 10-minute video essay discussing what this movie is actually about.
I also feel like I need to watch it again a little bit.
Right.
Like, when it first finished, I was like, okay, I got what I got from that. But thinking about it, walking out of the theater, I think I would need to see it again to fully get the whole thing.
Yeah, and the score. What'd you think of the score?
The score was wild. The score was like its own was well, of course it was its own other thing, but it really enhanced every scene and made it like took it to like the next level. Without the score, it would have been. It wouldn't have been as good. I feel like it wouldn't.
Yeah, you know, the score was extreme at points. At one point in the movie, it started to get crazy, and the score started to get crazy, and the people next to me got up and left.
I didn't notice that.
People there's like, I've seen enough. When we stayed to the end of the credits, people were like, okay, I'm sorry. I thought this was supposed to be good. You can pick the next one.
Yeah,
that's what people were saying.
That's what people were saying.
But for me, look, I see a lot of movies. So when I see something different, I really like it, especially something that makes me think. Especially something that there were a number of framing choices that sort of explained the movie. So if you could watch it without sound, you could kind of pick up on what's happening. And very creative uses of cameras, a lot of tight shots, not a lot of cutting, which I appreciate. Yeah, I mean, so I'm going to give this movie an 80 out of 100. And I could probably give it a higher score, except, you know, the most important thing is enjoying yourself in a movie, or in like sort of being swept away in it. And this movie for me was just intense, and not in a good way, not in a pleasant way. It was like, let me figure this out. There's more to be getting. What's gonna happen? Terrible. I mean, there were horrible things happening, and I had to laugh. I was just like, oh, I have to laugh. This is too ridiculously horrible. I must like break this up in my own brain and laugh.
It's, like what you said about how movies are supposed to like take you away. I feel like that movie kept me in my seat and kept me aware that I was sitting watching a movie and all this horrible shit was going on in front of me. And I was like, it was like Clockwork Orange. Like my eyes were just like, I was like trapped watching the horrible stuff happen.
Right.
That's what it felt like for me a little bit. But like, I don't, like you said, it was different and made me think, which is something I appreciate from a movie.
Yeah. So, all right, man. What did you give it out of 100? You want to give it a score?
I don't know. I don't think I can give it a score out of 100. I have very mixed feelings.
Well, of course you can. It's
I
will
can.
you or
like,
you won't you.
72.
There you go.
72. That's how I feel right now.
That's how he feels, bro.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it. Killing a Sacred Deer. Go see it if you want your mind twisted up. But if you don't,
go see Thor.
Go see Thor. Something else. Something, you know.
Yeah.
Something fun.
And keep it simple.
Maybe
with Thor.
The Orient Express. All right.